Hot Mic is brought to you by Red Wing Shoes of Fargo. Built to last. 3003 Main Avenue, Fargo.
Hot Mic with Dom Izzo.
Really? Really, Dom?
No. I like what Dom's doing.
Okay.
Dom Izzo.
Jeez, come on, Dom. What do you think I am, a magician?
Yeah, I'm fired up, Dom. What else could I say?
Absolutely. It was great to get on the field, and then Dom came up to me, and I'm trying to walk away from me. I just wanted to enjoy myself out there.
Hot Mic.
Great job.
There's got to be some kind of intelligent question about something.
Coach Dom Izzo, WDAY in Fargo, North Dakota.
Can you give me a layup or something?
Hot Mic. Presented by Northwestern Mutual.
That program is second to none.
On the networks of WDAY.
You know, if it's not about sports, I find it very hard to concentrate.
Here's Dom Izzo.
Good Friday morning. Oh, baby, we've made it. Welcome to Hot Mic on the final Friday of August. It's the 28th day, the day before the day, or the day of for those that are observing, because it's big school football starting tonight in North Dakota. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Hot Mic here on WDAY Extra, KSFL TV, KMBN in Western South Dakota, all parts in between at Inforum.com. I am Dom Izzo, host of said show. Welcome, everybody, to our program here on this 28th day of August. We are done. It seemed like a blur that August is come and gone since September is around the corner. That's how the calendar works, evidently. And for those that have waited, your nightmare is almost over in terms of waiting for the next football game. For those that are following the big schools of 2A and 3A football, there are games tonight across the state. Whether it's here in town, whether it's in Bismarck, Minot, Dickinson, you name it, we got games going on all over the place tonight. Excited about our crew for First Down Friday to give us the taste of what we got going on all over the place. And last night we got it, whether it be Division I, Division II, Division III, NAIA, which has bragging rights this morning since they beat a Division I school. That hasn't happened since Sioux Falls beat University of North Dakota in a football game back in 2009. Guy you may know was the head coach of the University of Sioux Falls at the time, Kalen DeBoer. I don't know what he's doing now. USF beat UND that day. Now, Northwestern State got beat last night. Northwestern State is a team the Bison actually played early on in the Division I days. I'll fill you in on that in a little bit because it's not pretty. It's honestly and I'm not trying to be the guy like, hey, the Bison are gone from FCS and it stinks, but I will just tell you this. It was not a great night for FCS football. Missouri Valley took a couple shots last night. That wasn't good. The Pioneer League got beat. 3 separate Pioneer League football teams got beat by non-Division I's. That's, in a word, bad. I can only hope it gets better from here, but it was not a sterling debut. It's probably the best way to describe what happened in FCS football last night. We got a lot to get to today. It is Friday. Cory Provus is going to join us this morning on a great day to talk some Twins. I know it's a heavy football day, but the Twins made some news yesterday. We talked about it yesterday on the show with the loss in the series to the A's, that Byron Buxton's injury, that is this the time for Walker Jenkins? The answer is yes. The Twins made it official yesterday that the top prospect, one of the top prospects in all of baseball, will make his major league debut tonight for the Minnesota Twins when they play the Chicago White Sox. So that seems fitting. We got Cory on today to talk about that. That's a pretty good timing on our part. That's worked out for us this year when there has been some major Twins news happening. It's happened on a Thursday or a Thursday night. We got Cory right away to lead us off on a Friday, and we'll get to that coming up here in the first hour. I mentioned it's a great high school football night. We got 2 games tonight on our airwaves on WDAY Extra and WDAY 2. We're going to check in Kindred as the Vikings get set to open up a highly anticipated 2026 season against the team that beat them, the reigning state champions from Devil's Lake. We're going to preview that game coming up later on in the show. And it is Friday, which means for the 7th, 8th, 9th year, trying to get this all situated, 7th year on television, probably like our 9th overall, my dad is back with his Stone Cold picks. I know we're still a couple weeks away from the NFL season, but now the Bison are an FBS school. They officially have the money line on them. So Now Dad just can't say, well, I didn't think they're going to win 52-0. Now we actually have the money line, the under-over, all that kind of good stuff. So, and he is traveling this weekend to Yankee Stadium as the Red Sox and Yankees are playing this weekend. He's got luxury suites that he's sitting in. He's a big-timer, so he'll join us coming up later on in the show to chat about that and a few other topics. A perfect way to send us off into the weekend. I know the anticipation is super high. I was looking right before we came on the air at the ticket situation going on at the Fargo Dome. At 8 o'clock this morning, the unused tickets from Jacksonville State were released because right about 7:30 I looked, there was about 200 or 250 tickets left for the game tomorrow at the Dome. And we're talking in the corners of the Dome. So if you're sitting at the 50-yard line where the Bison logo is front side up here, we're talking on the left side up at the top corner there, which would be the east side of the Dome. And then the visiting fans section, which is on the south side at the very top. Those are the cluster of seats. There's a few others. All the student tickets have been sold. I mean, it's going to be hopping. The question is, can it sell out? Because I think that's something that they've wanted. And I don't say they, I mean North Dakota State's athletic department. And frankly, I'll hammer this tomorrow if they're not. Like, what else are you doing? Even if you're not a hardcore Bison fan, but have gone to games in the past and said, well, I don't want to see them play Western Illinois anymore. I don't want to see them play Murray or Indiana State or North Alabama or East Tennessee State or Delaware. Well, they're going to play Delaware now. Maine, Chattanooga, right? Well, here's a team. I know they were FCS. I get it. But they moved up before the Bison did, and they've been pretty good. And they've never been here before. That alone should have been enough. We'll see. They've got here, what do we got? Say about 29, 30 hours to make this happen before the football game tomorrow. So we'll keep our eyes on here between now and the end of the show. But let's get rock and roll. We got a lot to get to today. I mean, we have football highlights on a Friday, means it's officially ready to go. UND opened the season last night. Fighting Hawks opening a highly anticipated 2026 campaign. We had Eric Schmidt on the show on Wednesday. Obviously going to be playing without their top defensive player. Lance Rucker is going to be out for a bit, maybe 5-6 games. Because remember, UND plays 11 weeks in a row before they have their bye and then play the final game of the season. That's a quirk in their schedule in 2026. But it's set up for them for the first 6-7 games that these are winnable opponents, beatable opponents. Outside of that game with the University of Nebraska coming up in the middle of September. Long Island was the team. The Sharks out of the Northeast Conference were the ones coming to the Alaris Center last night. Fighting Hawks did not mess around. Already up 7-0. Illinois State transfer Matt Lawson had a great debut. That's a 4-yard touchdown run. After the 2-point play, it's 15-0. Later in the first, Jerry Kaminsky to Nathan Rodovika, the tight end out of Maple Grove, Minnesota. It's 22-0. Long Island struggled on D. Caleb Goodlow is the transfer from Bowling Green. He was great last night. That's a 28-yard touchdown. It's 29-0 in the second. How about another Maple Grove standout, Charles Langama? We talked about him with Tom Miller, about him being a force in the backfield. That's a 13-yard touchdown. It's 36 rip in the middle of the second quarter. How about some defense? Johnny Wiltshire got that temporary restraining order. He's playing. Comes up with a pick. And that set up this. Lawson, for the second time, gets in from a yard out. Transferred in from Illinois State. Gives the Fighting Hawks a 42-0 lead. This is the play maybe of the half we got to show. How they get down there. This is a little flea flicker. Kaminsky goes up top. Sam Strandell, the pride of Grand Forks Central, went up and got it. That's a fabulous play. UND's defense was suffocating all night. Although the Sharks got 21 points in the second half, basically against UND's 2s and 3s. So it's hard to judge how the second half went because UND didn't score in the third and fourth quarters. They win it 42-21 was the final. Kaminsky with a brilliant night. 17 to 21, 232 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's what you want. Because he changed his number, as you saw there, folks. He's wearing number 1 now. UND ran for 168 yards on the ground. Lawson with the 2 touchdowns. Goodlow in his debut, 5 receptions, 118 yards, and a score. And that was something that Eric Schmidt talked to us about on the show on Wednesday, that we needed to be more explosive at the wide receiver position. Goodlow may be that guy because he was really sharp last night. 5 for 118 and a score. They weren't the only game going on last night. Down in Moorhead, the Dragons opened up 2026. MSUM welcoming in Northern Michigan. And boy, the Dragons had success. Jack Strand, who is all we can say after how the game started. They got the long touchdown run to start things right up the gut from Tyson Brandt. How about a long run? Drew Hebner, the starter at quarterback. Look at this. From Morris, Minnesota. Gets into the open field. 73-yard touchdown run. It's 14-3 MSUM in the second quarter. And the route was on after that. Later in the second, Hebner over the middle. Kalen Lucas is wide open. 45 yards to the land of 6. It's 21-3 MSUM at that point. Later, Kelly Johnson, a little slant, catches the fastball from Hebner, makes it 28-3. Panthers got a safety. It's 28-5 on the old bingo card. Central Cass can stand up. Owen Wiersma is wide open. Wide open. 44-yard touchdown. That made it 35-5. Dragons roll in their opener. 41-19 the final over Northern Michigan to start off 2026. The post-Jack Strand era with a win. How about Drew Hebner's debut? Look at this stat line. 21-31, 265 yards, and 4 touchdown passes. That's Jack Strand numbers there. And he also led the team in rushing and ran for 104 yards and a touchdown, of course, boosted by that 73-yard score that he had in the second quarter. Northern Michigan got some points late in this one. They scored 14 in the fourth in garbage time. This one was decided long before that. They're back home next Thursday. Got another Thursday nighter. Concordia St. Paul will be coming in a week from yesterday. So 2 impressive debuts there, and kind of 2 different ways in how they went about their business. I'd say for UND, and again, I don't know how much you want to take out of this on them boat racing a Long Island team that's clearly overmatched. And the Northeast Conference is what we is. We've seen teams out of there before, and they just don't compete with the upper echelon of the FCS, whether it's the Missouri Valley or the Big Sky. It's not been a winning venture for them when they've had that. I'd say Kaminsky was great. I think the passing game certainly looked more improved. And that's something when you watch from games 7 through 12 last year with Kaminsky, he was trending in the wrong direction. Certainly when he played against South Dakota, when he played against North Dakota State, played against South Dakota State. I know he got dinged up in the playoff game with Tennessee Tech. Was not great. Last night looked on point, and they look like they have some weapons on the outside. Langama and Lawson, if that's the 1-2 combo, that can be pretty effective for UND. For MSUM, that's how you draw it up. Lockway will be back with us next week on Tuesday. Defensively, they held Northern Michigan to 5 points through the first 3 quarters. That's what you're trying to do. Impressive start there for each of those teams to begin 2026. All right, a couple other things here before we get our set up for the show. You know, yesterday we had Lakin Donnelly join us, West Fargo Horace superstar, who announced on Wednesday her commitment to go play for the Bison in the class of 2028. They didn't waste any time in getting another commit and another in-state one. This is one that out west I think people are quite excited about. Kesia Beauchane's announced last night her commitment to the Bison out of Washburn, North Dakota. 6'3", led the Cardinals to the State B this past year in Minot. You can see her there down low in this quarterfinal game against Lemoore Litchfield Marion. She plays for the Minnesota Metro Stars AAU team. I mean, she got offered earlier this month, about 3.5 weeks ago, after going to NDSU's elite camp. That size and in that age bracket, again, she's heading into her junior year of high school that just started out in Washburn. This is, I don't know if it's a flyer, but certainly you like the upward trajectory of what her career could take. See, she had a tremendous year block shot-wise this past year for Washburn. I watched her play just a little bit at the State B, caught my attention there, not knowing at all what the recruiting world was like. And obviously now, the Bison now have landed 2 commits in 2 days for the class of 2028. And you always wonder on the jump, right? The Bison have a couple of these now from quote-unquote smaller schools. Riley Rutledge is coming in for next year, the class of 27 out of South Prairie. I know that's Minot South, so to speak, but that's a Class A school. And now you've got making Class B to Division I. That's I think a rational question, one to wonder about. But that size at 6'3", you got like, all right, we got to. And in our own state, that's when we can probably take, quote-unquote, and you say this all the time, maybe take a chance on all of them, but that is one that maybe is worthwhile. So Jory Collins is 2 for 2 in his home state, and I'll just wrap it with this. For years, and this is before Jory got here, but for years, I pounded on Bison women's basketball because of the amount of talent they missed locally, whether it be Lexi Clabo, who was playing right in their own backyard at Fargo Davies, to Sam Hybe. I know she went to Nebraska, but she never was offered out of Moorhead, Minnesota. Tylee Irwin is always the most egregious one out of Wahpeton, North Dakota, became a superstar at South Dakota State. Bison missed on all of them, right? I don't even know if they were in on any. And when they were, it was the train had already left the station. So the fact now that you have 2 out of Horace and Christofferson and Donnelly, you've got Rutledge coming out of South Prairie, and now you've got Beauchesne's coming from Washburn. That's what you have to do. And there are others out there. We know Riley Sievert is a heck of a player at Shanley. Anna Claire Bugby we had on the show from Mandan's another. Those are ones the Bison have. Don't know if they're going to get them, but you got to be in on that. We'll see. Century's got 2 studs that NDSU's already offered that are ending into their sophomore years of high school. It's talent level is wild right now, and Bison seem to be capitalizing on some success to get some players to come this way. We have a packed show coming up for you here. As I mentioned, our guest lineup is brought to us by Northwestern Mutual. As I mentioned, Cory Provus will join us at the bottom of the hour. Twins are back home. The White Sox are in town. This might be like the red light going off. Where they're at in the American League wildcard standings, they're 4 back. They need to start winning ball games after losing a series against the A's. Went 1-5 in that road trip. Walker Jenkins is here. We'll talk to Cory about all of that coming up at about 9:35. At 10 o'clock, Kindred head coach Eric Burgad will join us. The Vikings open up 2026 tonight with Devil's Lake. That's one of the spotlight games across North Dakota, which we'll talk more about that in our next segment. But the expectations, the pressure couldn't be higher on Kindred. They have 2 players going to play Power 4 football. Everybody thinks they're going to be the champs in Class 2A. Remember, that was the thought last year. It was going to be them and Minot North. They got beat up. They didn't even make the Dakota Bowl. Pressure couldn't be any greater this year on them to get to the Dakota Bowl. We'll talk about that with him coming up at 10 o'clock. And at 10:35, we'll wrap things up with my Pops as we'll get some picks in for this weekend, talk about his beloved Yankees, and head to Yankee Stadium to go see the Yankees play the Red Sox tomorrow. That is a pretty cool story. If I can somehow twist his arm to tell the story of when he wanted to leave Yankee Stadium when I was a kid with him, we potentially could do that as well. That and a heck of a lot more coming up. You'll hear from Bison quarterback Nathan Hayes as well in anticipation of his first career start tomorrow against Jacksonville State. So we got a lot to get to, folks, over the next hour and 45 minutes or so. We'll take our first break. We come back. We'll get you ready. The games start tonight. We'll preview the spotlight games in North Dakota football when we return on Hot Mic on WDAY Extra right after this. Welcome back, everybody. Hot mic off and rolling. Don't forget, we've got a double dip for high school football tonight. Note the start time of the game in Horace, 6:30 tonight on Extra. Sam Getzinger will be there to call Red River and Horace. We previewed that earlier in the week. And then at 7 o'clock tonight, Isaac Dienison will have the call from Jamestown as Wahpeton and the Blue Jays open up 2026. Highlights of those games and a bunch more coming up tonight on First Down Friday. Also a reminder to let you know that we have a brand new show we're debuting this Sunday night, right after the news, 10 o'clock. News airs, or at 10:35, the football show will be on WDAY. Myself and Sam covering everything football related, whether it's North Dakota State, whether it's the Mountain West, high school football, all that will be for the next 14 Sundays. You'll see it on WDAY, 10:35, right after the news. We're excited to that's the old Sports Sunday time slot, which I was proud to launch that way back when, 2015, when we started doing Sports Sunday, which ran for, I want to say, about 7 years, and excited to have that time slot back. I know we're going up against the end of Sunday Night Football on NBC, and those games tend to go sometimes long, but we're encouraged. I think people will be watching and looking forward to that. If you miss it, we'll have it on inforum.com as well the next morning to check that out, and you can also stream that live when it airs on Sunday night at 10:35. So excited to debut that coming up this Sunday night with plenty of Bison content in there after what went down, what's going to go down tomorrow at the Dome. All right, each and every Friday, this time slot we devoted, is when we can, to getting you ready for the high school games of the night, at least the top games. Now, reminder, Minnesota has yet to join the party. They start coming up next Thursday is when games in Minnesota. So these are North Dakota only. We had one game last night. Shanley and Century played. So let's start with the big schools in 3A. West Fargo, Bismarck. Goes without saying. Those two teams have the longest standing history, and it's not Gibson versus Gibson anymore. Jay obviously moving on. Eric Peterson's the new head coach at West Fargo. So the Packers are opening up against our friend Gibby. We'll talk to him soon enough, because Bismarck's loaded. They're going to be really good this year. Cheyenne and Legacy. Now, Legacy obviously coming off the first playoff victory a season ago, made it to the state semifinals. These are the, quote-unquote, the two newest kids on the block before Horace joined the party. Interesting to see what we got going on with Cheyenne this year and what Jeremy Newton has in store for his Mustangs in 2026. They lost a lot. Kai Schlichting was almost their offense. He's playing at NDSU. Red River and Horace tonight. We previewed that earlier in the week. Horace has got all the pressure on him. You'll see that game coming up tonight on Extra. That how do they handle dealing with being the favorites? That's the intriguing part to me. Because Nolan Davies is still quite talented, but Horace has got all their eyeballs on them. That's in 3A. In 2A, we mentioned Kindred Devils Lake. We're going to save our preview for that coming up later on in the show. Just know this, Devils Lake lost a lot from last year. Mason Palmer was a great player as the reigning state champions. Wahpeton and Jamestown, as we mentioned, that's going to be on WDAY2 tonight. You see on your screen. Huskies and Blue Jays looking for bounce-back years. Wahpeton had a really tough year after a postseason appearance in 2024. Jamestown's always kind of in that middle ground. We'll see what happens to the Blue Jays this year. Grand Forks Central, we had Jake Schauer on. I think they've got high expectations that they can make some inroads in 2A football in 2026, that they can be in the mix, that they can give some teams some trouble this year. They've got a ton of guys out. They've got some returners as well, including their quarterback being back. They take on Bismarck St. Mary's, so the Saints are breaking in a new coach as well. That's in 2A football out west. Class A and 9-man look like this, because remember, they've already played games. You've got Botno and Northern Cass. Shout out to Northern Cass. Got a nice win on the road last week against Ray. We know Ray's got Ty Barman, who's pretty much the future of the state maybe in high school football. They're back home against last year's runners-up in Class A in Botno. Thompson and Hillsborough Central Valley should be fun. Just proximity alone, that's a good rivalry game. Those two teams typically get it on pretty good. We'll see what happens tonight. Valley City. Chad Smith, who was with us a few weeks ago to get ready for the season, I know. We got number 1 and number 2 right out of the chute. They had Velva last week to open up the new stadium. Now this week, they're Langdon's home opener. Langdon went on the road and won by 40 last week at Oaks. Josh Kravachka's team is just humming along here for the defending state champs in Class A. 9-man, Kidder County at Napoleon Gackle Streeter. Each of those teams are 1-0. Napoleon ranked in 9-man. They're just always so good in 9-man football. Kidder County got a win in that Region 4 Rumble as well last Saturday. Hankinson and Richland. That might be next to Wyndmere, Hankinson's closest game of the year. Going up to Colfax tonight. I put that on there because Money Law is one of my favorite people, but that's an ultimate Jersey matchup there. Richland's Powder Blues, I put up there with anybody tonight. Also, the Polar Bears, anytime we get them on there for Larimore, my guy Cal Triplett and Larimore, they're at home tonight against North Prairie in 9-man action. Those are just some of the spotlight games to keep an eye on across the state. As we get rolling with, it should be a beautiful night for football across the state. And we'll see how things, it's always interesting, especially in the bigger classes, because now those non-conference games don't technically count. As Troy Mattern told me, especially he'll say that after last night's game with Century, how things pan out there. Highlights of all those games coming up tonight on First Down Friday with Riley Swenson on WDAY. About 10:15, 10:17 tonight. We'll take a break. We come back. Our guy Cory Provus will join us as the Minnesota Twins have brought up the future. Cory Provus will join us on Walker Jenkins as the Twins get ready for the White Sox tonight. That's coming up when we return after this.
This is Hot Mic with Dom Izzo, presented by Northwestern Mutual.
Deep to left center field. Back it goes and gone. The 0-2 pitch. Hey, struck him out swinging at 101. The swing and a drive. Left field and deep. Back it goes and gone. And the Twins walk it off again.
All right, it's that time on a Friday. We get our guy Cory Provus to join us finally for the first time, I think, in a month from the Provus Mansion. He's been on the road every Friday in August, so you just got to be juiced about that to be back home, right?
Back home, and I like doing this from my porch. This is my favorite part of my house is this porch that I'm talking to you from, and I seldomly get to use this, so I do enjoy visiting with you always on Fridays, even more so on a beautiful day like today.
Well, I mentioned this before you came on that we have some expert producers that we make sure there's some newsy Twins things happening when we have you on a Friday, because it seems like that's been the case over the last couple of years. A guy you may have heard of, Walker Jenkins, is getting called up. He might be the most talked about Twin that hasn't played a game in the major leagues. What was the first time you heard about him? Was it after he got drafted, I imagine?
So he got drafted, obviously, the 5th overall pick in 2023, but his name came around that I first heard of not long after. Remember, the draft lottery began for that 2023 draft. So this all happened around the winter meetings in December 2022, where it looked like the Twins, based on record, were going to pick about 13th. And then they made changes with the draft and the lottery. And the Twins, they won big in that they were projected 13th and shot up to number 5. And that's when you started to hear about who they might grab. And it seemed like the top of that draft was really, really good. Yeah. That the top 5 guys kind of separated themselves from the rest of the pack, in some ways comparable to the top 3 in this draft. If it was Rock Chewalski, and then you had the Grady Emerson kid, and then Von Lackey. And then there was a separate group after that. It felt like you were the same thing about the 2023 draft. So I first heard about him when the Twins shot up as high as they did, and they had a pretty good idea that he was going to be available number 5, and he was. And here he is, and he'll make his debut tonight.
All right, what kind of player is he, Cory? We see the power, we see the highlights we were just playing as you were chatting there. What can we expect when we see him tonight in the outfield?
He's a 5-tool. I mean, if you go based on the scouting grade, I was chatting actually via email with Sean Johnson, who's been running the Twins draft now for years. I was asking him to take me down memory lane about, the first time he saw him, and we're going to tell a lot of these stories tonight. But even the late, great Mike Ratcliffe, the legendary Twin Scout who we lost with cancer a couple of years ago, Walker Jenkins was one of the last guys that he did kind of the scouting report around and looking at the numbers. And he said, the grading scale for scouts, you go as high as an 8. And he said, an 8, all 8 player, that'd be like Bo Jackson. As great as Joe Mauer was, he wasn't all 8s. There were a lot of 7s and 7.5s. And Jenkins was in that same realm that, maybe there were some 5.5, some 6s, but there were also plenty of 7s and 7.5s. I mean, he checked a lot of boxes. And this was a kid that was 18 years old. This wasn't a polished collegiate player when you expect some of those numbers to be higher, because he's not only played as an amateur in high school, but as a collegiate player going up against some stiffer competition. Yep. You have a better scale to judge. But so Jenkins, he checked a lot of boxes. And the one thing that I think kept him from probably debuting sooner, like many of his peers have already done from that 2023 class, is health.
Yep.
He just hasn't played a whole lot because of a variety of injuries. Nothing that has been chronic. It's just been acute bad luck injuries that have happened over the course of time. And they popped up again this year. Hamstring injury kept him out of spring training. That's why he didn't play in the Futures game. I'm sorry, not the Futures game, but the spring training breakout game that we did back in March against the Phillies. Yep. He had that soft tissue injury, but he is a big time talent. And I'm sorry to get long winded here, but I was thinking about last night when I saw the news in the target field era, if you will, Dom, the Twins' highly touted prospects that have debuted at target field. It's not a big list. Yeah. Byron Buxton was on the road. Miguel Sano was on the road. Max Kepler was on the road. Eddie Rosario was at home. That famous first swing and with against Scott Kazmir and the A's at the home run out to left center. He was at home. Brooks Lee was at home. Alex Kirilloff was at home in the playoff game against Houston when nobody could go outside of a few select Twins employees during COVID during the 2020 season. So not too many in the target field era with this kind of background and this kind of hype have been able to debut at home, and hopefully the fans turn out in a big way tonight.
This is highly anticipated. I mean, this is the one name the Twins fans have been talking about endlessly over the last couple of years. I know you'll probably caution me, though, him raking home runs in AAA over the last little bit. Do we take a lot from that, or is that something that can project to the next level?
Yeah, I think you can't read too much into the home run numbers, especially at home. What I'm learning, CHS Field and Toby Gardenhire, who managed there for years, he's been quick to point out to Derek Shelton, it is a bandbox. I mean, the ball flies there. It is in a very, very hitter-friendly ballpark. But I think some of the balls that Jenkins is hitting out to left, those are probably either outs or doubles at target field and in many big league venues. But the pull power seems to be pretty legit. I mean, that is something that I think we take away from. And that was the one part of his game we were waiting on. He's 21 years old. Is the power going to pop? Right. And it has. And it certainly has here in August when he came back from the shoulder injury that kept him out for a while, kept him out 5, almost 6 weeks. The numbers since coming back from that injury, he's earned his way up here. I think there is a clear line of demarcation. When did this season go from good to incredible to excellent to outstanding? After that injury, after that shoulder injury that he sustained earlier in the year, I think you look at the numbers since then, Dom, and they speak for themselves.
Does this corresponding move means that Byron Buxton is going on the injured list today? I think so. Yeah. I mean, I've been lucky enough to watch Byron, my whole career and his whole career. I got here for the back end of Mauer. I saw just a season and change of Morneau. But Byron is the one guy that I can say, because my first year was 2012. He was drafted in 2012, that I've got to see this guy play along the way, certainly every big league moment. And the amount of pain he looked like he was in on Tuesday night was different to me. And I've seen him come out of games, and I hate it every time. But he looked very, very uncomfortable on Tuesday night, where
yeah, he clearly couldn't finish the game, and it didn't look like this was going to be a one-day thing here. That, yeah, yes, to me, this is a pretty simple transaction, barring something happening on the off day yesterday, because he didn't fly home. He was with the team on Wednesday, and he was on the flight home Wednesday night into Thursday morning, and I'm sure treatment and everything he's been doing, but barring a medical miracle, yeah, that to me seems like a pretty simple transaction.
Him putting his arms around Derek Shelton, that was the part that got me. Like, that doesn't look good, to your point of what you're just talking about.
The fact that he missed that ball.
Yes.
He doesn't miss that.
No.
He doesn't miss that. And what we kept hearing about Byron and the discomfort and the pain he has been enduring is when he decelerates. When he has to slow down, that's when the pain, the discomfort starts to pop up with that right hip. And we had a good shot of it that as he began to slow down, reaching for that ball in right center field, he pulled up. And he could only bend over so far. And then it looked like, boy, he can't put any weight on his right leg. And to see Shelty come out, to see Jason Kirkman, deliberately walk with him slowly. Remember, the clubhouses are beyond the outfield walls there in Sacramento in left center, right. So he had to go that way. It looked awful. I mean, the visual looked terrible, and he spoke with Audra Martin and Dan Hayes of The Athletic a bit on Wednesday and said, yeah, this one feels differently, and it looked differently. And so, yeah, I hope it is 10 days and we're good to go, but I have my doubts, but I hope I'm wrong.
I know you don't like compliments, but I'm going to give you one. You were all over it the other night when Taj Bradley is closing in on the immaculate inning. When did you get a sense of that, like after the second out? Like, when were you on, like, okay, this could happen?
Yeah, I mean, I'm watching the game, and, I have multiple things up on my iPad during the game, including MLB at bat and game day, and so I'm watching, and so after the second batter was Brian Serven, the catcher, I'm looking at it. I'm scrolling. I think as Plouffe is talking, I'm like, yeah, okay, 6 pitches. Yep. And then I was going to wait. And then after pitch 7, then to Henry Bolte, the center fielder, he got strike 1 on Bolte. Then I'm like, all right. I think I told you I was upset with my call about Cody Clemens, the ultimate grand slam, because I missed on the build up to the moment, right? I whiffed badly on. That's why I still have not heard that call. I don't want to hear that call because I didn't do my part to build up the moment. Not to say this is the same, okay? An ultimate grand slam, target field, the atmosphere, incredible. But I was like, all right, I know because I've been following immaculate innings for a while. I've seen them happen to the Twins now 3 times. And I know that I've reported on the air many times, to my knowledge, and I've checked with people, that there has never been one thrown by a Twin.
Yeah.
And I just know that because I've been looking for it. And sure enough, after pitch 7, I was not going to let that happen again. And I don't believe in jinxes. Vince Scully never believed in jinxes. And if the greatest to ever do it wasn't afraid to scream from the mountaintops about history happening, a no-hitter, a perfect game, then I'm going to follow that man's lead every chance I get. And this was something that, all right, if there are fans watching, it's late, I get it. If they're just kind of casually have the game on, what can I say to get their eyes on the TV? I think it's my job to say, hey, we're about to see some Twins history, and hopefully that got some people maybe off their phone, away from cleaning up the kitchen, what have you, to being like, hey, something of significance might be happening here.
You got my attention, there's no doubt. That was pretty darn cool on that. We need a break. We come back. We'll chat on the postseason chase. The White Sox are in town, and all the division games are coming here over the next few weeks. We'll talk with Cory about that on the other side of the break as Hot Mike rolls on. We're back right after this. All right, welcome back, everybody. Wish that guy was pitching tonight. My Santana bobblehead here. Back with Cory Provus. Twins are at home. White Sox are here. There's no sugarcoating. The road trip was bad. I mean, San Diego is what they are, but you can't lose 2 of 3 to the A's. So now 4 games back seems like what we were talking about last week. You can't have a stretch like that and then try and recover, right? You got to win series, or at least you can't lose series to the A's is the best way I can say it, right?
Yeah, I mean, their playoff chances, whether that's division, wild card, it's on life support right now.
Yep.
I mean, it's just, I worry about the amount of teams you have to leapfrog too. It's not just that you're 4 back, it's that you need so many other teams to start losing.
Right.
That was a huge swing game on Wednesday. Just, I think, winning that series, winning that game, I think would have done wonders just for everything going into this stretch now of what is, I think, is the season. 15 consecutive games, all back in the division. You've got the White Sox 6 times. You've got the Tigers 6 times. You've got Cleveland in town for 3. And that's going to be it. I just, there's only so many games left, right? There's 28 games left, and these next 15 are right smack in front of you, all in the division.
All right.
So what do you do with it? And it starts with tonight. And it's a massive game. I like the fact that we talked about Walker Jenkins in the first segment, Dom. Hopefully that news generates more buzz and gets people to the ballpark. The weather looks incredible tonight. And let's turn out. I mean, let's turn out and support this team and give them some fuel here for these next 6 games, which are massive. And it starts with the first place White Sox, who have been, the best, I think, story in baseball this year. I mean, I 3 straight 100-loss seasons. You saw some potential, no doubt about that. But this lineup has been incredible.
Yeah.
And their starting pitching can be had here a little bit. But their lineup is deep, it's talented, there's power, there's speed, and they can be a nuisance, and we've seen that firsthand. But it starts with tonight. If the Twins have any chances of getting back into this thing, at minimum 2 out of 3 against the White Sox has to happen.
We were talking about earlier in the week, Joe Ryan was back throwing. Is there a promise that he could be back sometime soon? Question mark.
I mean, Shelty said he'll need a rehab.
Yeah.
I mean, he'll need a rehab somewhere, somehow, wherever that's going to be. We'll know tonight. I think that's a fair question to throw Shelty's way tonight and to get at least an update on Ryan, because the starting pitching is doing okay. The bullpen had a really bad road trip.
Yes.
I mean, the bullpen, which really, I think, to be fair, has been the most consistent aspect of this team out of the All-Star break. That was not the case on the road trip. The bullpen really regressed. We're talking about a double-digit ERA. Hard to win. It's hard to win if you're getting that kind of ERA any stretch, and certainly 6 games on the road. Dean Kramer going tonight. He's been really good. He's been really good so far as a Twin. And Luis Castillo, whom they got from the Mariners, the White Sox did at the deadline. He's going to make his 5th start. His ERA is over 5. He's been home run prone. The Twins have had success against him. Lefties have hit him well. Jenkins, of course, being a lefty. He'll be in there tonight. Curious where he bats. MLB Network was saying he's going to bat leadoff. That's not going to happen. I think Keyshaw stays in that leadoff spot. But yeah, I mean, I love the fact that we're going to see a lot of homegrown talent, man, thrown out at the White Sox here tonight. A lot of first-round picks and second-round picks all in there together competing at the same time will be neat.
All right, 2 emails come in. One, where does Jenkins play? What position? Is Keyshaw stay in center? Or is Jenkins in left? Where does he play in the outfield?
Center. I think he's in center.
Okay.
I mean, if the move is Byron
straight
is
up
out and Jenkins is in, I mean, Jenkins has played mostly in center. They've tried him a little bit in the corners, which makes sense. In the event that, Byron is active, they want Jenkins to play. He's not going to be a spot starter.
Right.
He is up here to play, much like Culpepper, play just about every single day. And Culpepper looks great
Killing it
now. And
Killing
I love the play. I love the play he made.
Yes.
He made a great defensive play too, Dom, on Wednesday night going up the middle.
Yeah, I thought
we've been waiting to see that play.
Yep.
So, yeah, Culpepper's looking great. And, I think Jenkins is in center.
Another email. Dom, yes, Corey, if the Dodgers are beatable this year, who could come out of the National League? Well, they've been beatable lately. They haven't been very good over the last few weeks.
They're slow playing this thing. I mean, they are. I mean, look who they're easing Blake Snell and Tyler Glasnow back in because they know that this doesn't mean a thing. I mean, they're going to win the division. Doesn't mean they'll have home field in the next round. They're going to win the division. They got a massive lead right over San Diego. What is it? 8 games,
They're
7, 8
up.
games.
Yep.
They got a huge lead. Okay, they're going to win the West. Beat them in the playoffs. I still think that the team to beat I think Scoobel, by the way, going tonight in Detroit. Pretty cool.
That'll be all right.
Playing the Tigers tonight,
Yep.
and Scoobel's pitching tonight. That's going to be awesome. That's going to be some good drama there at Comerica Park. Milwaukee is incredible. They really are. They really are a beast of a team. But the Dodgers, prove it to me that you can beat them in the postseason. They're going to get Andy Pages back in the postseason. So they're kind of doing some load management here, if you will, to take some NBA speak into how they approach October. And I'll believe it when I see it that they can be beaten in October.
I look going back as well to, you're talking about the bullpen, like the Monday night game, Gomez came in just to get some work, and that went from 9-2 to 9-6 before you knew it. That was emblematic of what you're talking about. That just was not good on the road trip.
Everybody. I mean, Andrew Morris, he's around the plate too much. I was talking with Glenn Perkins after the game on Wednesday, and he brought up a great comp. He said what Louis Varland struggled with as he was transitioning from starting to bullpen was he needs a breaking ball.
Yeah.
And everything with Morris is hard and hard and hard and hard, and you need something softer. And I think that's the next step for Andrew Morris is, okay, let's take the pedal off here a little bit and give some soft spin to show it these guys, because these are the best hitters in the game, and they're seeing velocity. But guess what? They see velocity every night. They need something else. So I think that was a good point that Perk brought up after the game on Wednesday.
Looking forward to see the debut tonight, and glad you guys are back at home. Great to see you as always, bud. Have a great call, and we'll talk next week, okay?
All right, Dom. Looking forward to it, buddy. Thank you.
There he is, Walker. That's Walker Jenkins' debut. Cory Provus will call it tonight. You can see the games on Twins TV. Night game tonight, and then day game tomorrow. Note that for you Bison fans and want to watch, the Twins play at 1, so you can do double. I'm sure you're going to have the game on in the tailgate. We don't have that many college football games going on tomorrow you're interested in. But Twins play. Jenkins is going to wear number 11. I'm trying to think of great Twins that wore number 11. I'm trying to, like, even recent memory of guys that wore number 11. But that jersey will be a hot seller in the Twins store at about 6 o'clock tonight. The Twin Store, by the way, undefeated. That is a dynamite place to get gear in there. I've spent way too much money down there over the last few years. But we'll see. This is the season. Cory said it. Cannot underestimate the importance of it, or even overestimate the importance of the next 2 weeks, because they're hanging by a thread. You saw the standings there, and he's dead on. They're 4 back, but all the teams in front of them that they've got to try and leapfrog now. Great stuff as always. We'll break. We come back. We'll start our second hour. Get ready for the high school football night across the state. Kindred's Eric Burgad will join us as the Vikings open up 2026 with Devil's Lake. That's coming up when we come back.
This is Hot Mic with Dom Izzo, presented by Northwestern Mutual.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Second hour here on a Friday morning, ready to rock and roll. Of course, don't forget we've got high school football coming up tonight here on WDAY Extra and on WDAY2. Horace and Red River, Waupun and Jamestown. More on that coming up later on in the show. I love our viewers. I got a couple of emails. I was talking about number 11. Great friend Brad Anderson. I should have remembered this, by the way. Jock Jones and Chuck Knobloch. I forgot my guy, Jorge Polanco, wore number 11. He's a former New York Met. We can't wait to get rid of him because he's been hurt all year. And for you Twins fans, Orlando Arcia wore number 11. That didn't work out great there either. There's your famous number. I can't believe I forgot Knobloch. I'm going to kick myself on that one. Anyway, speaking of, we got ball tonight. First Down Friday back on WDAY at about 10:15. We'll have highlights of probably double-digit worth of games. One we'll be keeping our eyes on is a rematch of the state semis in 2A last year. Kindred and Devil's Lake, the Firebirds, the reigning champs in 2A, welcome in the Vikings. Our pleasure to welcome in Kindred head coach Eric Burgad joins us here on a Friday morning. I have to imagine this is anticipated by everybody outside of your football team, knowing how last year ended. How have you handled that, knowing, hey, it's game 1, and it just happens to be against the team that ended your season last year?
Yeah, it's funny it lined up like that. There hasn't been any talk on it internally. Like, we haven't. It's not a revenge game. We know there's 2 different teams. We're trying to establish a new identity with a new roster, just like they are. So they bring some kids back. We bring some kids back. We know there's some familiarity there, and got to play them twice last year. So yeah, the kids understand the matchups, but it's also a new team, so kind of preparing it like for any week one, just like we would have with another opponent. So I'm just trying to be sharp, a little more focus on yourself than it is on the opponent.
Eric, I was visiting with Harvey McMahon about this earlier in the week about outside expectations. And I know there's a ton of inside expectations with your team. How do you handle that with kids that are 16, 17, 18 years old, knowing everybody on the outside thinks you're going to win every game by 25 points this year? How do you handle that?
I think it comes down to what are you preaching in your meeting room? What are you preaching on the practice field? I think if your focus is continuous improvement and focusing on the day, and if practice is the most important thing, and you're not talking about the external factors, you're not talking about rankings, you're not talking about matchups that are coming later on in the season, if you can try to just focus it, simplify it, and focus on getting better every day, then I think your kids can think that way too. So that's the main reason we try to block it out, and the kids have handled it well over the last several years. They've had some success, but they know they haven't earned anything yet with this year's team. It's all brand new, and you got to go pave your own way.
Tell us about this 2026 team. Everybody knows your two superstars, but what do we not know about this team that we're going to see starting tonight?
Yeah, I think throughout fall camp we had a lot of players make nice strides, make nice jumps. Kids that were on the field last year, whether it was just we were short at that position group or we had injuries, had some younger players playing, first time in that varsity action. And to see them in those big moments, I felt like we struggled at times. Just little things, just not having that varsity game experience. But then you couple that with the work that they do in the winter, work that they do in the summer. I'm just getting bigger, faster, stronger. I think that's where a lot of their confidence comes in. And then seeing them in full camp, like they're new players. So yeah, we've had some kids that have been playing on the varsity level from their freshman year on. You talk about Brooks, you talk about Luke, Brock Johnson, Miles Steele, just those guys were all contributors in the Dakota Bowl in 23. So to have them, absolute luxury, but the rest of our roster too, I think just very hungry, working on getting better as individuals, which ultimately makes a better team.
I want to talk about Miles for a second here. We had him on after he committed to MSUM, Eric, and he was talking about the importance of the summer practices and the senior practices on Sunday night and the amount of guys that were coming out for that. How much is that something you were involved with at all, or is that something you see the guys taking on their own and leading that during the summer months?
Yeah, something they take on their own. We always try to talk about a player-led team. Like you got to want it like a coaching staff would want it, right? And it doesn't work if it's just one side. Like we all got to try to align our thinking, and our goals got to be aligned, and the steps that we take to get there, that's all got to be aligned too. So always trying to create leadership roles for them. And Miles is a really tough kid, both mentally and physically. He's got great leadership qualities, and it's never a me versus you. Like, he's such a good coach on the field. I really noticed it this fall. Really mature in those ways, and then just really hungry himself. Like, he takes care of his own business. So if underclassmen see the way he's preparing and the effort that he puts into a lift session or any practice, then it's easier for them to fall in line and want to do the same thing. So his leadership's been great.
How do you see him projecting at the next level for the Dragons, for where he can fit in at MSUM?
Yeah, I think he'll have a great career. Just knowing what we know, he's a really fluid athlete, really smart football player. And he keeps getting bigger, faster, stronger. We knew he was going to be really good when he was a freshman. Just kind of had those traits, a kid that everybody else kind of gravitates towards. Like I mentioned before, just really good leadership qualities. So at the next level, I think he's going to be great playing defense.
All right, so it goes without, I've gone this long, I haven't talked about Baco or Star Civic. I'm going to try a little bit longer to do that before we get to talking about them. You look at 2A as a whole, knowing Minot North is certainly going to be good. You mentioned Devils Lake, your rivals in Castleton are there, Jamestown, Wappinan. Just how do you assess it where, okay, we know every week, every game, doesn't matter who we're playing, they want to beat us more badly than anybody else. How do you handle that with the guys too?
Really, Dom, I think it goes back to what I was saying earlier. Just take it week by week. Like I think a lot of it is kind of the practice environment. Like we know those Friday nights are going to feel crazy. There's going to be things that happen that are unexpected, and so you're kind of trying to train response to adversity. And I think if you can create like a really chaotic and intense practice atmosphere, which we always try to do on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, then it maybe doesn't feel as crazy on a Friday night when you got the fans in the stands. You're just able to focus on execution because that's what your coach is yelling at you to do on Tuesday. Like, don't worry about that. What's your job? Focus in there. So that's how we try to handle it.
I know last year you had issue at home with. Are you all good to go with hosting and stuff? Because last year, if I remember right, you couldn't host the first couple games.
Yeah, our sideline was still torn up because they put in the new track, but had a full track season on it this year. The track itself is beautiful, and then field looks great now too. Put in sod on the sidelines. This summer, our grounds crew, Pat Berg, has been working like crazy to make that look pretty, and he puts a lot of effort and pride into it. So yeah, we'll be ready for the week one opener.
Well,
of course.
I was going to say, because I was talking about that yesterday on the show, are people bugging you already about where to park? Because next week, I know you're worried about Devil's Lake. You got a wrong road trip tonight, but next week there may be some people in attendance for that one.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those games where you got to get there at 5 if you want to seat at 6. Like the line to get into the gate might be out to County Road 15, and yeah, just get there early. It's going to be absolutely packed house. It's going to be awesome.
Let me talk about both your standout guys here. How have they handled just life since committing, Eric? From what you've seen them and talked to them, of now that's over with, does it feel like the weight of the world is off their shoulders?
Yeah, a little looser, a little more free. Just more time. That recruiting process is so intensive. Just keeping the relationships up. The number of coaches that are trying to contact, and even after the commitment, they're still getting calls and always having to just be on their game. They don't get to go home and just kind of hang out with their family and friends like most 17, 18-year-olds do. So I've seen them grow. From a maturity standpoint, a ton throughout the process. And yeah, you can see the relief. Like they're a little more free when they come to practice. They both feel really confident in their decisions with their schools. Both made great choices. So now it's just have fun. Let's go play with our buddies.
Was there ever a moment for you it was surreal, like you're talking to a coach or on the phone with somebody? Is there a moment that sticks out when I ask you that?
Yeah, there's a couple. Like when PJ Fleck comes to the school, like that school, the head coaches. That's probably the main one that sticks out. But you get to meet a lot of cool people, and just there's always coaches calling, trying to set up something to come to the school, come visit, and it's big name schools. It's fun. It was fun for me, fun experience for them. Got to meet a lot of great people throughout it. Just very fortunate to be alongside those guys throughout it.
It's happened almost routinely though now, right? You've had the big schools through Kindred now for the last 5 years. It just seems like another day though, no?
A little bit, yeah. It's like one thing that's kind of fun to hear is hearing those coaches' travel schedules.
Yeah.
Because they're all flying into Fargo on a private jet, and then they got 3 other schools to get through along the West Coast or the East Coast, and they're jam-packed with flights all day. So sometimes their stops are pretty quick, and they got to head back into Fargo to get on the jet. So yeah, it's been fun.
Oh man, see, I thought the biggest name you have would be Ambrosius, because he's kind of a big deal as well. That you have to work with him all the time.
Yeah, he's big time around here, well known, absolutely.
What's the travel schedule today? I mean, this is a long trip. What's the schedule here later today?
Yeah, so the boys were in this morning. We did a film session like we always do on Friday mornings, just trying to keep things sharp and get ready for tonight. So then they'll have a morning of school, dismissing at 1:15. They'll grab a sack lunch. We get on the bus, leave at 1:30. It is our longest road trip, about a 3-hour trip from Kindred this week. So we'll stop at a midway point at a rest stop, let the kids use the restroom, and then burn rubber all the way up to Devil's Lake. It'll be a long push.
For you.
Good road test for us early. We haven't played up in Devil's Lake since the COVID year, I think was last time
Holy
we
cow, that's crazy. For you, are you looking at game planning, or I need just some time to zone out and not think about football?
It's whatever gets thrown my way. I'm our middle school principal, so there's not much time to relax. Like just jumping on this call, I find it kind of feels good just to be in my office with the door closed. But yeah, it's whatever comes my way.
Or do what we can. I can keep you as long as you want. We can just blow. I can just blow off my dad is coming up later. That's not that big a deal. So if you want to,
no, don't blow him off. And I got to get to lunch duty here eventually too. So.
When you look at the anticipation of tonight, you've been doing this for a long time. Do you get nerves, excitement, a little bit of both before kickoff tonight?
Both. I think the week one nerves are usually a little more than the rest of the season, just because the preparation's a little bit different. You don't know everyone that's going to be on the field for them tonight. You don't know what their style of play is going to be. Like they could completely change their O or D, so that makes you a little nervous, but for the most part, it's just kind of a nervous energy, an excited energy. But I feel that every Friday night. I still get those. It's
great to catch up, but hey, if you don't have them, right, you don't want to do it anymore, I imagine, right?
Yeah, that's what makes it fun. Yeah. It gets you up on a Friday night. No better feeling.
Totally. It's great to see you. Thanks so much for doing this. Safe travels north, and good luck, and we'll talk again during the year, okay?
Sounds great. Thanks, Tom.
Eric Burgad, head coach of the Kindred Vikings, joining us here on a Friday morning. Kindred and Devils Lake coming up. Of course, that was the game last year. Devils Lake beat them by 1. The Palmers are not there anymore. Devils Lake team this is a different outfit. Kindred's on a mission. He's not going to say it. I think they're on a mission to seek and destroy, basically, in 2026. We'll see if it happens. That's the craziness of high school football. Something quirky. Somebody gets hurt. A weird bounce. A game gets closer than you don't think it, but they have all the talent to run away with this thing. I think Castleton's going to be in the mix, too. I know Sam mentioned that, I think, a couple weeks ago. Minot North, we've already visited with them. I know Sam had Tommy Butler on a couple weeks ago. I think those are the horses. There might be somebody else in 2A that will rise up, but those are the 3 I think they're in contention to make it to Fargo in the middle of November. All right, let's break. We come back. We'll hear from Bison quarterback Nathan Hayes about making his first collegiate start tomorrow in the Bison FBS opener. That's coming up as we roll on a Friday morning. We're back after this. Welcome back, everybody. Don't forget, tomorrow, start your day with us. Bison Game Day. We'll be live inside the Dome to get you ready for North Dakota State's season opener with Jacksonville State. No matter the game, we will be there Saturday, 10 a.m. on Channel 6. Myself and the gang ready to rock and roll to start a new football season. Also ready to rock and roll is one Nathan Hayes, who's been waiting 3.5 years for his opportunity. Got here in the fall of 2022. Think about that. The fall of 2022 was such a long time ago. Redshirted that season as Cam Miller led the Bison to Frisco that year and lost to South Dakota State. Back up again in 2023 as the Bison went through that season, lost 3 games in the regular year, made it still to the semifinals. 24 was an intriguing season for him because that's the year Cole Payton got hurt in the middle of the year. So Hayes then became the backup to Cam Miller. We got to see his first extensive action at Murray State, if you remember correctly, where he went in and played basically 3/4 of that game because it was over about 7 minutes into the game. It was already over, and Hayes came in, and he played quite a bit down the stretch in some mop-up duty, and obviously last year he was the main backup, and we've seen him in basically mop-up duty. He's thrown it 63 times in the 4 years he's been here. We've certainly seen him run. He's had a couple of long ones, including against Tennessee State for a touchdown, that run against South Dakota State where he threw the Jacks defender out of bounds with the face mask will be remembered for a long time by Bison fans, considering it happened in Brookings. But now, set to make a whole set of memories as the starting quarterback and what comes with that. He could have gone and played baseball. His trajectory for baseball was about as high as it could have been. He wanted to be a quarterback, and he wanted to quarterback at NDSU. We got a chance to visit with him earlier this week about start number 1 coming tomorrow at the Dome.
Just excited. It came quicker than we thought, and we're just excited to be here. We still have a lot of prep to do in these next few days to be able to play free on Saturday, but you can feel the excitement in the locker room, and we can't wait to get out there.
I know we're battling a hammy. Tell me your health status, how you're feeling going into Saturday.
full go. Body feels great, and just ready to go on Saturday.
Biding your time now. This is a chance for you to be the guy. What you think? Has that gone through your mind yet of what that'll feel like on Saturday?
It has. Every time I think about the game, that pops into my head, and the past 4 years have been preparing me, so I know that I'm able to, and I can't wait to get out there.
Just first game as an FBS program. How do you balance that without making, I guess, too big a deal out of it?
We've had FBS games before. I just think about all the prep we did for the Colorado game a few years ago, and it's nothing new to us. There's no change in that preparation, so we're just taking it just like every other game and preparing our butts off, and we're going to be ready to go on Saturday.
I think there's going to be some little extra juice in the Fargo Dome, though. I mean, it's going to be a big crowd. There's over 18,000 tickets sold, so I think people are ready for this. How do you keep those emotions in check? It's going to be a big deal.
It is going to be a big deal, and ever since the news came out that we were moving up, the town's been buzzing, and I think along with the players, the town just couldn't wait to get here, and so there's going to be a lot of excitement with the team, a lot of excitement with the fans, and I think that's going to give us a big advantage that Fargo's going to show up on Saturday.
This is a big game. These guys are pretty good. I mean, this isn't maybe a normal opener at home. Talk about that a little bit. The Jacksonville State's, they're legit.
Yeah, they are a good team. We've done a lot of prep on them. Their coaches have been around for a long time, a good coaching staff, so you can't take anybody lightly. And we're the Bison, and we're gonna prepare like we always do.
Did you get to know Caden when you were down their quarterback at the Manning Passing Academy? Did you guys talk at all?
Yeah, actually, and when I went down to Mobile in May, he was also there. So I have gotten to throw with him for a few sessions. He's cool. He's a playmaker. He's got a good arm, good legs that I can see. So he can do a lot, and so our defense has a lot to prepare for, but they're going to be ready as well.
Did you tell him what to expect, what the dome was going to be like when you were talking?
No, didn't give anything away, but I think he knew. He mentioned it, so but yeah, got a little scouting report for our defense while I was down there, so it was fun.
What's it going to be like now? Every week's going to be pretty much a fresh opponent. When you're in the Valley, you had an idea from week to week certain opponents, but now it seems like every opponent you're going to have to do a bunch of study. Does that make it more exciting, or does that make it tougher to prepare for new opponents like that?
A little bit of both. It's definitely a little tougher, just not kind of knowing what to expect, not having that film of how they've game planned you in the past, but that does add the excitement to it. It's just like playing championship football in the FCS in the playoffs. Every week is a new opponent, someone that you might not have played in the past. So that's how we're going to attack it, just like we would in the playoffs.
Tell me about your relationship with Gage, how that's developed for him taking over #1 center duties, and what you've seen from him over the last 5 months.
Yeah, my relationship with Gage hasn't just been these past 5 months. He's been waiting his turn a long time as well, taking a lot of 2 reps with me the past 2 years. So I've taken a lot of snaps from under center with him. I'm very comfortable with him. He's a great guy on and off the field, and he's a good leader of that offensive line. And he's done a lot of good things over fall camp, so everybody's fully confident in him.
How did this offense you feel gel throughout fall camp, that we're in a spot now where we're trending in the right direction?
Yeah, I think just the reps is the biggest thing. A lot of new faces, a lot of new guys, but like I said with Gage, over the past 2 years, a lot of reps have been built. Maybe not on Saturdays, but on the field throughout the week, throughout the off season. So just kind of coming together and getting those first team reps kind of coming together, gluing, especially with some of the new guys, has been really good.
How do you put your stamp on this offense? I mean, Cam had a certain way of doing things. Cole had a certain way of doing things. What's Nathan Hayes' way?
Whatever my team needs me to do. I think I can do a little bit of everything. So whether that be, throwing it as far as I can, but or taking a check down, to move the offense along, using my feet, whatever I have to do to keep the offense on the field, that's what I'm going to have to do. And that could change week to week. So we're just out here to be the best we can.
People have said, through fall camp that you're one of these quarterbacks now that has shown the most arm talent. Do you think about that? Like, are you letting that creep into your mind, or how are you kind of handling what that title has now?
I think just that does kind of creep into my head, but just understanding the situation has been a big deal. Coach Polisek, Coach Larson, and Coach Bishorn have been instilling in me that it doesn't always have to be the most glamorous throw, the one that's going to catch somebody's eye, or the ESPN top 10 throw. A long foul ball is what we call it. It could be 50 yards downfield but incomplete. And the throw that might be the throw to make is the one that goes 2 yards and all of a sudden turns into a 20-yard completion because of the playmakers I have around me. So that's just been a big thing that I have to keep reminding myself, and just keep learning how to, play the game of football, play field position, and have all that come along.
Sounds like they're reining in your gunslinging. Are they putting a seatbelt on you here, or what are they doing?
No, there's no seatbelt. But just understanding situational football is the biggest thing, and you see it every Sunday in the NFL. Like there's games that are decided by one score, and so taking a check down on 3rd and long might help our defense out and might get us the ball back in a better field position. So just understanding that it's a really long game, it's a 4-quarter affair. So just doing what I can to help the team out.
You get to be a senior leader for this team on and off the field. What's it mean that these guys have that trust in you to lead them into this next chapter?
Yeah, we came out with captains last week, and it was a huge honor to hear my name. Just thinking back to all the captains that have been on this team the past few years that have been huge role models to me. So I'm just taking it day by day, trying to be that role model for younger guys that they can look up to and they can learn from. And whether that be a little thing like picking someone off the locker room floor, or making a big play on a Saturday, that's just.
There's our conversation with Nathan Hayes with the assembled media from earlier this week, and all of the anticipation for him now to get that first start is almost over. I think he's going to play well. I think he's going to see a couple throws that you're going to like, oh, okay, didn't know that was in him. Tim Polisek has told me repeatedly that he's got probably the strongest arm since one Carson Wentz was slinging it around the Fargo Dome from 2011 to 2015. We'll see. I don't know how many deep shots. That's the thing. Can the Bison playmakers make plays? Mekhi Collins, Jackson Williams, Isaiah St. Romain, Reese Kessel. It's time. We'll find out come 4:35 tomorrow afternoon. It is also time for some picks. We'll break when we come back. Dear old dad will join us, get his thoughts on what he thinks the Bison will do tomorrow and his trip to Yankee Stadium. That's coming up when we return.
If that was me and you, if you'd have went with a Boston, you'd have been living in the garage. I had a Yankee hat on, of course, which I usually almost always do, but she says to me, if I were you, I'd take that hat off. And I looked at what look at it to begin with. I ain't taking my hat off. I know where I am. Yeah, right.
You believe anything that guy says? Because I don't.
He said he was going to marry J-Lo, too, remember? Come on. I finally told your mom. I said, there's no sense. Let's just put TVs in the room because I'm only going to wake them up anyway. So
that's how I got a television?
Fridays in the fall mean only one thing, that it's the return of our uber popular pick segment with my dad, who joins us from lovely Oswego, New York, on the shores of Lake Ontario. It will always be Lake Ontario. I don't care what anybody has to say about that. Let the emails come. I don't care. Hey, Pops, what's up? How we doing?
Hey, not much. How's it going?
We're doing all right. Evidently, there's a football game here tomorrow, which I want to get to in a second. But you are on the road again. You're heading back to Yankee Stadium.
Yes, we are. About another half hour, they're picking me up.
All right.
I'm ready to roll.
So, for people that don't know, you won an auction for seats to see the Yankees play the Red Sox. The game was supposed to be played in early June. Of course, the game got rained out. It was a Saturday night game on Fox, and then rescheduled as a day-night doubleheader. So the rescheduled game is tomorrow afternoon, correct?
Yep, 1 o'clock.
All right. So
we're ready.
And when the game was postponed, the Red Sox were terrible. Boston was in last place, and now all of a sudden this game means something. tomorrow.
I guess it does. The whole series means everything this weekend for sure.
Holy cow, what is going on here?
They better get their act together, I'm telling you that.
Well, we're almost to September. That's when you actually tell me then it's time to start paying attention. Game is on Apple TV tonight. Sandoval and Schlittler are going tonight. Who's going? Let's see who's going tomorrow. Do you know who's going tomorrow?
No, I'm not even sure.
Rodon is pitching your game tomorrow.
Oh,
so
good. Cool.
He's pitching the first game. The night game is undecided yet for both teams. Who's going that? I'm sure the bettors love that. So are you back in the same spot that you were?
Everything's the same. Yep, we just go right back in the box, and away we go.
And you get treated like the king, I'm assuming, huh?
Oh, it's great. It's great. Unbelievable, man. I'll never go to another game because it'll never be like this. It's just crazy.
Food is all taken care of, all that? Oh,
yep,
boy.
they deliver it. Here's the hat. Here's the hat I bought off our
off the usher?
Yeah, or whatever you call them. Yeah, it was awesome, man. I got my Funkle shirt on because I'm going with 5 nieces. So
he said Funkle over the Stace, just so you know. Funkle is what he said.
Yes, Funkle, fun uncle.
Oh, that's fantastic. And the weather looks good, like no rain or anything.
No, they're calling the 80s, partly cloudy, but in the 80s.
Because I saw last night. The line out the door at Yankee Stadium wasn't to see the Yanks plays because they had the Costanza bobblehead, which I need to have. That was the Calzone bobblehead, and people were waiting, all the way by the. I know how far away the subway station is to get to Yankee Stadium. That is a long line.
Yeah, I mean it was that way when we were there because it was a T-shirt giveaway. And we didn't think we were going to get them, but we ended up getting them.
See, I already have. This is the Costanza bobblehead I got last year with him as the traveling secretary, where he's telling Derek Jeter and Bernie Williams how to hit a ball. So you do whatever you can to make sure you secure one of those for me. I'll appreciate that. All right?
I'll give it my best shot.
Because those are, they're probably people jack the price of those on eBay.
I'll ask my buddy.
Yeah,
if I
you
can
do
buy
that.
one.
If he's working tomorrow,
he'll be there.
You pull some strings on that and make it happen there. So
he told us he takes care of our backs every home game, so he'll be there.
So this is the start of the big stretch for you. You got this, and then next week is Labor Day weekend. Are we going to check in at the camper next weekend at the racetrack, I assume, right?
Well, I get back Saturday night, and I got it all hooked up. I'll bring it right down Sunday morning. So,
but the race isn't until racing actually doesn't start till a week from today, right? Next Friday?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. But we'll be there all week camping. So.
Now, in the old days, and I mean old because this was when I was a kid, they used to have lawnmower races up there. Do they still have them? Does that still happen?
No, now they have gig races.
What is that?
Oh, it's like soapbox derby cars. They race it. They're doing it illegally, but they do it at 11 o'clock at night.
Well, I hope you didn't just out them here that they're going to get arrested for doing this.
How could I out them? It's been going on for years, man.
But it's a blast. I mean, you're not alone up there. I mean, you might be the first, but by midweek it starts to fill in, right?
Yeah. Well, by Wednesday, that's when they all start pulling in. Usually by Wednesday, Yep. And it's packed.
That'll be awesome. Looking forward to that.
I think there's over 100 sites where I am, and they're all booked. So.
Oh, there you go. That was always the signal too, because it's over Labor Day. Then our school is ready to go. So because we start school here on Monday, but then obviously for you guys, it's after Labor Day, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think Sophie starts on a Wednesday. After that or something.
See, my whole schedule's thrown off because we're playing football here. That's normally happens Labor Day weekend, but we're ahead of everybody, and it gets going. But I got an email yesterday, and I thought, you know what? There's one person to ask about this that would be perfect, because I had an email that came into the show yesterday. Let me want to find it here quick. I should have had this pulled up, but we were doing too many things. Dom, I'm going to my first Bison game tomorrow. What are the things we have to do as a first-timer going? Now, you have been, I think I want to count to 6 Bison games.
It's been a few.
You've been to 4 at the Dome, and I know a couple on the road. So what would you tell somebody, first-timer, that's going to the Fargo Dome tomorrow?
Earplugs. Bring earplugs.
Well, definitely tomorrow.
Yeah, it's nonstop, man. You gotta. I mean, it's loud in there. So.
Okay. What about food? Anything like that? Because you got treated like royalty in the tailgate lot. Let's just put it out there like it is here.
Especially when we went to Youngstown and not Youngstown, the other one, Delaware.
Delaware, yeah, that's right. You went to Delaware.
Yeah. once we wore our shirts, they invited us right in. Anything we wanted to eat. It was awesome.
But the Dome treated you well. I think after some people forgave you that you were my dad, I think they understood. They treated you well, right?
Yeah, for sure. I had a lot of food there too in the parking lot.
See,
the best thing's the walking tacos. So a taco in a bag. Yeah, that's awesome.
I knew that was
I
going to
can't
come
go.
up.
I can't go without
I
them.
could have bet that you bring up a taco in a bag here on the show.
Yep, I have them. I have them Tuesday night at the racetrack. We make our own. It's awesome.
All right, so there's the answer there for tomorrow for going to the game.
Earplugs. Make sure you got earplugs.
See, where you were there at the heyday of it when it was just crazy. It hasn't been like that since you've come to a game. It will be. It's going to be like that tomorrow. It's close to a sellout.
Everyone I watched on TV last year, that was all just. It was nowhere near what I seen.
No,
so.
I know you're going to be at the ball game, but when you're leaving, you got to do me a favor. And this is no offense to the guys at CBS Sports. You'll mute it, right? Because I'm not calling the game on TV tomorrow.
You're right. I won't watch it at all.
Not that. You can watch the game.
No, the only ones I can't watch are the ones you at home.
That's right.
What the heck? You know?
Well, I mean, you got to buy another. I know how much you love streaming services. You'd have to get another one of those to watch.
That ain't happening. Which one would I have to get?
Mountain West Plus is what you need now. So
to watch
the two games we do. Yes.
How much is it?
Oh, I don't remember. I'll tell you later. But you can watch other games too. It's not just the ones we're doing. So.
Well, send me a check and I'll get it.
Well, Bill Stace. We'll send it to Stace. He'll take care of it.
Tell Stace he give it to me for my birthday.
Well, here's the cool part about it, and I told you this when I was out in Vegas. The Bison now are on the lines, like they're available. You can see them out there because it's never been the case before. So it started at 10 back in May. The Bison were a 10-point favorite. It's down to 7. So for people that don't follow, Dad, what did that mean? Why did it change, go from 10 to 7?
Well, they're trying to swing the money. Wherever the money's going, they're trying to swing it. Obviously, most of it was going on North Dakota.
Yeah.
So they're giving them. Either way, it's only 3 points, but that's a home field advantage, really.
Because Jacksonville State's pretty good. This team's won 9 games each of the last 3 years, but I think Vegas is thinking that this game's a 7-point favorite for NDSU. Here's the thing. The over-under is 46.5. That was always what I look at because that's where they're normally dead on about that, and I think they are again tomorrow.
They're obviously saying both defenses stink. I don't believe that with NDSU. 46 is
that's like 21-17. That's what I'm thinking. Like 23-17. That's 40 points. I think that's right in the wheelhouse tomorrow for what this game could be.
Yeah. But you got to go over 46.
I'm not. I would I'm hammering the under on that tomorrow. What would you do? You would take the under or the over on that?
Well, I probably wouldn't even bet it because I want to see the first game first. I don't even know how good your quarterback is.
I think it'll be
Has
all
he
right.
ever played?
He's played. He hasn't played in like meaningful snaps.
Well, that's
but,
what I mean. You got radius.
Cole Payton hadn't played any meaningful stuff until last year. That worked out all right.
Yeah, but he got in a lot of games.
He did.
And you could tell he was going to be pretty good, especially running the ball.
Yeah, he's all right. Hopefully the Eagles keep him on the roster there. How about the 7 points? You going to take that or what? Because you always say I'm betting the Bison because they're going to cover. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I would take the Bison in that one. I think
-7. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. He's on the hook for the first
especially
game.
at home. I think they will. So.
Well, it's definitely going to be electric. It's going to be loud, and we'll see. They've never played up here before, so there's always something to that too. So we'll see how that plays out.
Do they play in the dome or they play outside?
They play outside.
Yeah, well, that's going to be tough for them.
Well, we'll see.
Especially with that noise in that place.
All right.
I'm sure they're prepared for it, but.
All right, I don't want to hold you up. You got to make sure you not miss your road trip here.
No,
we're a couple weeks away. I think 2 weeks from today, we'll do all of our picks for the first of the NFL season. So you got a couple weeks to study up. I'm sure you've been watching tons of preseason ball, right?
And last night I did. I watched the Steelers Buffalo. What a joke that was! But they had him beat. They let him in.
Who played quarterback? I don't even know. Who was playing?
I don't either. I don't even know who it was either. But Preseason is, it is what it is.
How's the new Bills Stadium look? All I've heard is the reviews aren't good. What did it look like on TV last night?
It looked pretty good, but I was talking to a guy at the races, and he's a season ticket holder.
Okay.
And it was average price, I think, was $180 a game.
Yeah, that's.
But he had to pay $5,000 up front to keep the seat.
Holy cow!
I says, "Wow,
Yeah.
you kidding me? It's a one-time thing,
right?
But you have to pay $5,000, and he can pass it on to his kids.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Well,
But still, that's a chunk of money to come up with.
That's a lot. You know.
But he said it was beautiful. He had no issue with it at all.
Drew Aller and Will Howard. They played at Penn State and Ohio State, were the Steeler quarterbacks last night. Not your guy, surprisingly. A-Rod did not play last night.
The defense let them down. They should have had that win.
It's preseason. Get on. Give it on.
Doesn't matter.
Oh, man. Hey, have a ball. I can't wait to see some photos, and you actually get to see a ball game tomorrow, all right? And,
I hope so, man.
Yeah, you'll be great.
We didn't even get to see the players in the dugout.
I know, they didn't even come out. You'll get to see it tomorrow. I'll make sure I'm streaming a little bit before the game. I love you. Have a great time, and we'll talk next week, okay?
I love you too, man. I'll look for a bobblehead.
I appreciate it. There he goes. My pops joining us from Oswego, New York, on the banks of Lake Ontario, joining us here. We start our pick segment each and every Friday. Looking forward to that. All right, we'll break. We come back. We'll get you ready, folks. It's here, the first crazy sports weekend of the fall. We'll tell you all about it when Hot Mike wraps on WDAY Extra right after this. All right, wrapping things up here. What a week of shows. If you missed any of our guests, everything's available through our podcast, which I know is uber popular. You can go back and watch our shows as well on WDAY+. Got a couple minutes here before we wrap things up and tell you everything that's going on this weekend. I got alerted to this here right before my dad's segment, which is awesome, by the way, and so great to have him back. He's doing well, and I appreciate people reaching out and asking about him because we give him the summer off. He enjoys that. He never signed up to do television, so the fact he does it, I appreciate all the more every year we get a chance to do it. But I got an email about this. A letter to the editor. Now, I've had a couple letters to the editor sent about me that have not been all that great. This is a first. From the forum today, headline, letter. Thanks for letting us know where to watch Bison football games, Dom. It goes, kudos to Dom Izzo for the news story, letting everyone know what channels they can watch North Dakota State University Bison football on. I bought my 96-year-old mother a new television so she'd be able to stream some of the games through the Mountain West Plus app. Thankfully, she can now just watch through her Midco account rather than trying to learn how to use streaming. You know what? That's awesome. I appreciate that. It's something, honestly, we have been stressing about, thinking about over the last, I don't know, Eric and I have been talking about this since it got announced on Super Bowl Sunday. So that's almost 7 months ago. And I know there'll be calls tomorrow and there'll be emails and texts. And it won't be just tomorrow. It's going to be throughout the season. I think, to the letter to the editor's mom, there are a lot of people in that age bracket that have tuned into Channel 6 expecting to see the game there, and they're not going to tomorrow. If they turn on Channel 6 at 4:30 tomorrow, I think the Little League World Series is going to be on. So we've tried to let people know about it as best as possible. That makes me think, all right, we did okay on that. So I appreciate that coming in. I want to read one other quick email before we got to go. And this is on attendance. Don, when you say, what else are you doing? People have a lot of stuff going on. There's a huge baseball tournament at West Fargo and Concordia, hockey tournament in town. I do think an underrated piece of why this is a hard sell for a rather small facility. The dome is old and tired. Why wouldn't someone save hundreds of dollars and watch on TV? Something we've been talking about for the better part of the last couple of years on the dome and renovation. Appreciate that. Let's do some what to watch before we get out of here. All right, we got high school football coming up tonight. Don't forget, we got Jamestown and Wahpeton on WDAY2, Red River and Horace coming up here on Extra. Note the start time of that at 6:30. Also tonight, Twins are in action against the White Sox at 7 o'clock. The Vikings play their final preseason game. We'll see Carson Wentz likely tonight, 8 o'clock. That's on Fox. And how about some FCS ball, 9 o'clock on ESPN, Idaho and Cal Poly. Wake up with us tomorrow from the Dome, 10 a.m. for Bison Game Day. We will get you locked and loaded for North Dakota State and Jacksonville State. with the usual crew on Channel 6. Also coming up this weekend, UNLV Memphis. Make sure you watch that, 9 o'clock on Fox. The Jacks open at 6 o'clock tomorrow against Stetson, and the golf season wraps. And also don't forget our weekend wraps with the football show debuts Sunday night, 10:35, right after the news on WDAY. Full highlights, reaction from the Bison and Jack State. Thanks so much for joining us, everybody. Have a great weekend. We'll see you at the Dome tomorrow and back here on Monday.